my channel or welcome back to my channel. My name is Andy, sometimes Mouse, and I talk about books and book-related things. Today I'm going to be talking to you about my childhood reread of A Series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket. There are 13 books in that series. I currently have on my person books 2 through 13. I don't know why my housemates don't have the first book, or rather, I don't know where the first book is. They didn't either. They have 2 copies of the 4th or 5th book, I think, also, which is hilarious to me. Anyway, so there are 13 books, which is intentional and leads into the mystery of the VF something. VFD? I don't know. Volunteer firefighter something. Secret organization. It is intentional, it is a great mystery, and it is great fun. So, if you don't know what the Series of Unfortunate Events are, or are you watching my channel, you're probably too young. But it is a middle grade series in which the Baudelaire children experience a series of unfortunate events, starting with their mother and father dying in a tragic fire. There is Violet, Klaus, and Sunny being a baby, and the first home that they get sent to, essentially, because their parents' will is like send them to the most convenient people available, which is, you know, its own thing, because they have the Baudelaire fortune that will go to Violet as soon as she is 18. The first book has them going to Count Olaf, and Count Olaf is just taking them in because he wants the fortune, and that's his whole thing, is basically kidnapping the children of this organization and taking their fortunes. It's dark, it's witty, and it is actually, in my opinion, the perfect middle grade series. It was really hard not to talk about all of these reasons in my vlogs because I genuinely think this is the perfect middle grade series, because it touches on some incredibly heavy and dark topics that children need to be aware of and have an understanding of without necessarily experiencing it firsthand with no guidance. The first, really important one that this series really touches on is grief as a whole. And grief is kind of an overarching theme of the series, in which they talk about grieving not being able to really grow up as children appropriately, and having to parent Sunny even though they are kids themselves. And it talks about the grief of having lost someone and not really having time to process that grief, and how it hits you all of a sudden, and those kinds of things. And it talks about death without being inherently terrifying, while still being in like scary events, where it's kind of like, yeah, death happens and these events are unfortunate and that absolutely sucks, and the grieving process is a completely normal thing that you have to go through, and all of that sucks, like it does, but it's not the end of the world, it's not the end of everything. And I felt like, reading it as an adult, I felt like as a child, considering some of the things that I definitely was going through while reading these books as a child, I feel like these books actually probably played quite a large role in the way that I processed that information growing up. I also think that it does something that I really, really love, and I don't know how other books would be able to do it, right? But it includes a dense vocabulary while explaining what those words might mean. And it teaches clever wordplay and witty writing without being so dense that it's hard to understand. And it makes itself fun to read while still teaching you important things. And I really like the way that it gives vocabulary definitions within the context of the story, or within the context of funny real life things, and I think that makes it easier for that information to click in somebody's head. And I really like the way that that was done in these books. I think that it would be really helpful for kids, especially if I was definitely someone who, I wouldn't ask people what words meant, I would just wait for context to make it make sense, and it has led to me misunderstanding certain conversations and misunderstanding certain stories and such, because I was just too scared to ask someone what a word meant, because I didn't want to seem stupid. And I think that the way that this explains what words means is really incredible. I think that it's very well done. I also think that the pacing of these stories is, you could read pretty much all of them out of order And I remember going to the library and reading them, just kind of whatever was available. I don't think I read these in order. And I still loved them and understood what was going on, because you still kind of get a recap of what was going on previously without it being info dumpy, and you get these like snippets of this secret organization and Lemony Snicket's life without it being any more confusing than if you had read them in order. It's about the same level of what is happening right now, whether you read them in order or not. And I think that's great, because obviously if a kid is getting these books from the library, for whatever reason, they may not be able to read them in order, or their library may just not have the third or fourth book, or the first book, or whatever. I will also say, growing up when the movie came out, I was really excited about it, because I had the biggest crush on Emily Browning, who plays Violet, and then when she came out in Sucker Punch, I adored the movie. I haven't really seen the show. I watched a little bit of it, but I just didn't have the energy, the mental energy to like commit to watching it. I don't watch that much TV, Bella, and I will start a TV show and then like take months to finish it, just because I don't watch that much TV. I think that the way that this executes itself is really fantastic and fun, because it's still enjoyable to reread as an adult. Like, there's still this level of mystery. I found myself like Googling and like going to the wiki pages and the fandom pages and like going to Lemony Snicket's website and being like, what is this? And whenever I would see like, oh, Lemony Snicket is a pen name, I was like, no, it's not. I reject this information, goodbye. And would go on to like a different website so that I didn't have to read that it was the, that was the case. Because when I read it, obviously we had a family computer that I used in the bedroom next to me, where I did Harry Potter role-playing websites, which was hilarious because I had never fucking read Harry Potter. Still haven't, won't at this point. So, you know, you didn't just Google everything you didn't know at the touch of your hands. Like, I couldn't just Google about Lemony Snicket, like, while I was reading these books, because I had my phone and I could whip it out and Google it. Like, that wasn't really something that you could do at the time. And so the transition there was kind of interesting as well, that I was capable of looking into things more thoroughly and just enjoying the mystery of it all. And it is, at the end of the day, just this huge overarching mystery. So out of boredom, I went ahead and purchased the Lemony Snicket autobiography, the unauthorized Lemony Snicket autobiography, which is like a series of articles. I don't recommend reading it on a Kindle device. I started it on my Kindle device and I was like, I can't see this. Like, I can't look at the pictures on my Kindle. So I had to open it on my computer to read it more effectively, because it's just like these weird series of articles and letters that are like in code. And that's another kind of fun part about the series of unfortunate events. And I do think that the Artemis Fowl books did this with the fairy code at the bottom of the pages. I didn't read those books though, so I can't really say anything, but the series of unfortunate events books teach kids to look for code, and talks about like having a what are those notebooks? I don't remember. A notebook that you carry around and you put like interesting quotes in and words in, and a traveler's journal or something. That's not the right word. Maybe editing me will know what the word is and then be able to put it here. I enjoyed that incorporation, because I remember as a kid being like, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna carry around a notebook. And I did for a really long time. I carried around a notebook that I would put quotes in and things that I thought were interesting. I had composition notebooks everywhere growing up, and it was because of books like this. I also think that A Series of Unfortunate Events is the book series that made me a hardcover book snob, and it's because nothing trumps this format of book for me. So it's got that like old school edging, and it's like, this is the whole, there is no special cover. We have this fun, like the insert for you to put like a book, like a library tag, which is great. And it feels like a old school book, and the covers are just very fun and cool, and they look cool together. And I think that that genuinely is what made me a hardcover snob, is books like this, and then next month's book, which I'll talk about in a minute. Overall, it was just really fun, especially since the last couple of months I've been reading a trashy young adult series the last many months actually I've been reading trashy young adult series, and so this was a really fun change in pace. I think if you, even as an adult, like mystery and thrillers and you like code breaking and things that are kind of amusing to read, then this might be the reread for you. Like if you really want to go back and feel that heavy nostalgia from your childhood, because this definitely carries that, then definitely reread it. And if you have a kid in your life that you know can handle a little bit of scary topics, not necessarily like horrifying topics, but obviously the kid's parents die in the first book and all the grown-ups around them keep dropping like flies, so you know, obviously make sure that they can handle that kind of content. So maybe, you know, 11-12-year-olds I think would be able to handle that. This is a great, fantastic series. It will also expand their vocabulary and give them an idea about code breaking. And you know, their Lemony Snicket has a new series that started, I believe, in 2018, maybe 2012 or 2018. I know that's a 6-year difference, but I was just putting in the first book in that series in a TBR. That series is about Lemony Snicket as a child growing up. I can't speak to those yet, I haven't read them, but I am going to be reading them because I'm very excited for more content from this series, because I want to know more about this mysterious organization and I want to know more about the Baudelaires, and maybe I'll learn about it and maybe I won't, but I think Lemony Snicket's interesting, like what's going on with that. So all in all, fantastic series. I highly recommend it to adults and teenagers and children alike. Again, haven't seen the show, can't speak to it, but this truly is like top tier. Now then, for what I'm reading next month, it is another middle grade series, and it is the other book series that definitely made me a hardcover book snob, and that is going to be the Spiderwick Chronicles. I have some of them in hardback and then all of the first ones in paperback, but I'm hoping to get all of the first ones in hardback. So this is the paperback. It was supposed to be hardback, but it wasn't. The first books, there are 4 of them. There's 4 of them. I just pulled these out. I think there's 5 of them, just kidding. There's 5 of them, I can count. I have also Beyond the Spiderwick Chronicles, which is just the like next series in the series without, I don't know, expanding too far out. I was obsessed with these books. I was obsessed with the hardcovers. I'll show you what they look like in a second. And then as a kid growing up, I absolutely believed in the Fae, and I wanted as accurate information as possible about dealing with them. Because I had concerns growing up. Especially after I was like, the Tooth Fairy is real, is not real, or the Tooth Fairy is real and y'all have fucked me over. Which is it? Like I was upset when I learned about that. I cannot get this to go back in there. Not this hardcover because somebody drew all over, but I got it at a half-price book, so it's fine. So this is the first 2 books, which is the Field Guide and the Seeing Stone. Again, much like the Lemony series of unfortunate events, they are hardcover with no dust cover, and the feel of them is like this kind of textured matte and then shiny, and then it has those, like, I don't know if it'll focus, the like old school pages. It also does have illustrations, which a series of unfortunate events also has illustrations. Not tons, but it does have them. They're all under 150 pages. And then I have, again, the Field Guide, which these are a little bit longer because they did come out a few years later. But that is what I'm going to be reading for next month. And I'm very excited about them because these meant a lot to me growing up, and it is the first Holly Black books that I ever read growing up. I didn't realize they were written by somebody and also Holly Black, like Tony did I don't know how to say his last name, and Holly Black. I didn't know that. But I do love Holly Black's writing, and I think that the way that she does Fae is fantastic. So I don't really remember the movie. I might watch it once I finish my reread, but we'll see. I will tell you guys next month though when I wrap up my review of the Spiderwick Chronicles. But that's my review for a series of unfortunate events. Great books, great message, great everything. I just think they're so fantastic. I think there was only one book that I rated 4 stars instead of 5, and I think it was just because I found it kind of boring. Maybe it was The Carnivorous Carnival? Maybe. I don't know. Also, the titles are really fun and that makes it really easy to remember what they are. So, fantastic books. I could go on and on about them, but I won't because editing me would be very upset about it. So, let me know in the comments down below if you've read these books, if you grew up reading these books and enjoyed them, or if you've read the Spiderwick books. Let me know if you haven't read them and now you want to, or you want to get them for a kid in your life. I think you can still get them in hardcover, pretty reasonably priced, but I'm not 100% sure about that. Definitely at half-price books, though. I did see like all of them at half-price books, so if you have a used bookstore near you, that would be definitely where to check them out. Let me know if you liked this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share if you did. Turn the notifications on. If you thought you were subscribed to me and then haven't been getting notifications, you should check your subscription. I know that every time I occasionally like mention that, people realize that they have been unsubscribed. So just go ahead and subscribe. Again, if you happen to have gotten unsubscribed, YouTube thinks you're a bot. I don't know. If you didn't like this video, I'm sorry. Let me know how I can make it better for you. I post videos every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, so I will see you again later this week. Take your meds, drink your water, and do something today to take care of yourselves. Okay, thanks, bye.